I was very happy. A really tough place to come. They haven't lost yet all season, and we knew it was going to get really physical, very intense. They are really direct, and they provoke a game that is difficult to play. But emotionally, I think we handled it really, really well.
They said Arsenal couldn't keep this pace forever, that the clean sheets would run out, that the control couldn't last. But tonight in Prague, Mikel Arteta's men didn't just keep it alive, they perfected it.
Nobody has yet been able to cut this team open, regardless of whether it's making passes, balls in behind, set pieces, you name it. This Arsenal side is better than anybody so far this season that's come up against them. And it doesn't look like changing.
Slavia tried to fight, but Arsenal didn't blink. 3 goals, 8 straight clean sheets. Bukayo Saka drew the line with calm precision from the spot. Mikel Merino twice rose like a man born for set pieces, punishing chaos with choreography. From the first whistle to the last, Arsenal didn't chase the game. They dictated it. No panic, no drama, just a machine operating in human form. Because this wasn't just a win, it was a statement. A reminder that Arsenal's football has evolved beyond emotion. It's about control, rhythm, and inevitability. Europe keeps asking the same question: how long can they sustain this? And every week, Arsenal give the same answer: for as long as it takes. This is the story of how Arteta's Arsenal turned silence into dominance. The story didn't begin in Prague. It began weeks earlier, in the quiet rhythm of a team rediscovering its purpose. Arsenal's October had been a statement written in clean sheets and composure. 1-0 at Selhurst Park, 2-0 against Brighton in the Cup, another controlled win at Burnley, and that ruthless 4-0 dismantling of Atletico Madrid. Every game whispered the same message: control first, damage later. This wasn't the Arsenal of chaos or emotion. This was the Arsenal of silence. A team that could suffocate opponents without ever raising its pulse. As they arrived in Prague, the numbers carried more weight than words. 7 straight clean sheets, a defensive structure built like reinforced glass, and a chance to equal a club record that hadn't been touched in decades. Arteta's men knew the stakes. Europe was watching. The headlines were ready to shift from promising to relentless. But this wasn't just another European night. This was a test of identity. Could Arsenal sustain control away from home, under pressure, against a Slavia side desperate for survival? The Czech champions had nothing to lose, everything to prove, and a stadium built to intimidate. For Slavia, this was a fight for relevance, to keep their campaign alive against the giants of England. For Arsenal, it was a chance to prove that dominance travels. The players felt it. Saka knew he carried the weight of expectation. Rice, the conductor of calm, felt the pulse of leadership. Gabriel, the defensive anchor, was there to remind Europe why Arsenal now felt inevitable. Every clean sheet wasn't just a statistic, it was a declaration of intent. 8 straight shutouts was more than a defensive streak, it was a symbol of evolution. Arsenal weren't chasing titles through chaos anymore, they were building them through mastery. And standing in their way tonight was a Slavia side ready to throw everything at them. This was more than just points or progress, it was about momentum, about proving that what Arteta had built in October wasn't a phase, it was a standard. One slip could break the spell, one lapse could unravel weeks of perfection. So when Arsenal walked out into the Prague night, they weren't chasing a win, they were defending a legacy still being written, the legacy of control. Arsenal treated the opening like an away European exam, survived the first 5 minutes of direct balls, settled the line, and turned the volume down with passes that stick. So when Slavia slung early throws toward Corey, Saliba met the first contact, Gabriel cleaned the second, and Declan Rice kept sweeping the scraps into safety and rhythm. And as the half wore on, Saka began to threaten from the right, Trossard started to drift between full back and center half, and the crowd's roar flattened into a nervous hum. Then on 32 minutes, the key scene arrived from a routine Arsenal now execute with muscle memory. Saka's corner arced to the near post. Gabriel attacked it. His header flicked up and onto Lukasz Provod's arm. The referee went to the screen, pointed to the spot, and Saka did what he does. Quick look, cool strike, 0-1, a goal born from set-piece craft and a VAR confirmed handball, not chaos in the dribble. Halftime wasn't about passion, it was about precision, and Arteta's tweak was visible on the first attack after the restart. Keep the left side rotation rotations tight, let Trossard deliver earlier, push Rice 5 meters higher to occupy the first zone, and free Mikel Merino's blindside run. And 46 seconds into the half, Trossard shaped a clipped cross. Rice's near-post movement distorted the screen, and Merino arrived untracked to volley left-footed through the flight, 0-2, a training ground pattern executed at game speed. From there, Arsenal froze the match with adult control. Timber inverted to thicken the middle and build-up. Hincapié held the weak side touchline to kill the switch. Rice chose when to accelerate and when to suffocate, and on 68 minutes they landed the third from another rehearsed detail. A restart worked short through Timber into Rice. The cross bent to the far stick, and Merino attacked Chalupek's blind shoulder to thump the header home for 0-3. Slavia's brief lifeline, a penalty given against Ben White, was checked and overturned before the end. Raya claimed the late high balls, and the back line saw out an 8th straight clean sheet with barely a ripple, a night of calm command that matched the club's 122-year benchmark and kept Arsenal perfect in Europe. Mikel Arteta didn't travel to Prague to entertain. He came to control. From the first minute, Arsenal's setup revealed the homework. The press wasn't frantic, it was mathematical. Declan Rice operated as both shield and conductor, dictating the distance between lines, while Merino acted as the release valve, the pivot between precision and punch. The fullback stayed compact, Timber inverting beside Rice to create that 3-2 rest defense, strangling Slavia's counters before they even began. Every time the hosts tried to build through the flanks, Arsenal's trap trigger snapped shut. First the winger pressing wide, then Rice stepping into the lane, and finally Saliba or Gabriel cleaning up the loose ball. It wasn't aggression, it was anticipation dressed as calm. But where this night truly became an Arteta exhibition was in the detail of his restarts. Nikola Jover's fingerprints were all over them. The first goal, a Saka corner flicked onto Provod's arm, was no accident. It was a product of Arsenal's structured chaos inside the 6-yard box, Gabriel and Merino rotating roles to pull markers out of shape. The second and third goals came from the same department, the same geometry. Trossard's cross in open play mirrored their training pattern, and the later free kick from Rice's delivery was pure Jover theater. Arsenal no longer need open play magic to kill games. They engineer inevitability. Arteta's in-game management was just as precise. When the tempo dipped around the hour mark, he didn't chase the game, he compressed it. Lewis Skelly entered to re-energize the midfield press. White replaced Timber to secure the right corridor, and Anaus came on for Rice in the dying minutes to shield the box. Every substitution served one purpose: preserve control. Even when the home side believed they'd earned a late penalty, Arteta didn't flinch. His reaction was telling. Calm hand gesture, one word to his staff: focus. VAR reversed it moments later. The manager had seen enough of these nights to know that emotion loses matches, but structure wins them. Across the technical area, Trpišovski tried to adjust. He dropped Zaferes deeper to add numbers in the build-up, introduced Kusej for energy, and pushed his fullbacks higher to overload Arsenal's wide press. But the adjustments came too late and too shallow. Arsenal's block simply shifted shape. A 4-4-2 midline with Saka tucking in and Trossard countering space. By the time Slavia began to play, Arsenal had already finished. Arteta didn't just win on the scoreboard, he won on the chalkboard. His game plan wasn't about brilliance, it was about compression, control, and choreography. This was a tactical performance that stripped Slavia of time, air, and options. They weren't beaten by a moment, they were beaten by a method. And in European football, that's the difference between a side chasing respect and one already commanding it. This was not just a win, it was a demonstration of tactical literacy. Arsenal's structure, a now familiar 3-2 base, operated with machine-like precision. Hincapié's inversion turned the left flank into a control hub, sliding alongside Rice and Merino to anchor possession. Behind them, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber formed a back three that never lost its spacing. Ahead, the wingers stayed wide to pin Slavia's full backs, forcing the Czech side to defend deeper than they wanted. Arsenal's spacing on the ball, always 5 lanes, always staggered, suffocated the pitch. When the ball moved left to right, it wasn't about speed, it was about rhythm, shifting the block until the gaps appeared like cracks under pressure. Without Odegaard, Arsenal's rotations inside the half space were more collective. Merino dropped when Saka advanced, Rice stepped forward to connect, and Trossard floated into pockets where the captain usually orchestrates. It gave them a different kind of control. Less vertical flair, more territorial compression. The rest defense, Rice and Merino backed by the center halves, acted as a shield that shut down every second ball. Even when Slavia tried to launch long, the clearances came straight back. ESPN's tracking data recorded only one shot on target for the home side, and that came from outside the box, a number that reflects Arsenal's compact geometry more than Slavia's failings. This was never about how much Arsenal attacked. It was about how completely they denied their opponent's right to exist in the game. A tactical masterclass in restraint, and that's the only phrase that fits. Arteta's side no longer chase chaos. They dismantle it, then weaponize order. Where others seek to overwhelm, Arsenal simply wait for the moment when structure breaks talent. They don't sprint to dominate, they stand still until you suffocate yourself trying to find air. Then, when space finally opens, they strike with a precision that feels inevitable. It's not passionless football, it's purpose-driven control. Every match like this one reinforces what Arsenal have become. A team that wins not because they play faster or flashier, but because they play smarter, quieter, and more connected than anyone else. Tonight in Prague, Arsenal didn't just defend their European form, they defined it.